The Bulldogs.
A lot of dogs.
It'd be funny if like they had a postseason tournament where they're like, since we have so many Bulldog names, like we need to narrow it down to one. So whoever wins gets to keep their name. You'd see the best basketball of your life. There's going to be some crazy shit. People are going to bet Eastern Washington, they lose by 10, and people are going to be like, oh my God, this team sucks. Or like Montana State blows a game, and people are like, what the, the Big Sky's trash.
I feel like I just can't take you seriously. And at the same
program.
time, yeah, it's like I simultaneously can't take you seriously, and I'm extremely interested in everything that you have to say.
That's good. That's what we need out of this stream. Okay, is that like inertia or something? There's like a.
Well, I mean, like moving water requires colder energy to freeze. I can go call my mom. My mom literally lives on a river in Wisconsin.
What do we call that? Boots on
ground. Yeah. Okay, so you've got your mom's house on the under, and you've got life savings on UNLV. What else? What else can we wager? Future Kids College Fund. I mean, yeah. Well, so we're gonna double up, right? So we're gonna parlay the house and the life savings, and then we're gonna roll that through on something.
Told you we always been ready. I don't need people that's petty, that weigh on me heavy while I'm being steady. I need a record with Felly. We get it bouncing like Betty's. I feel like I'm Nelly. Don't bring the beef like a deli. It's sleep on a levy. No sleeping on me like I'm Freddy. Chris Breeze, how I do. Hit him with the moves. Left hand step back, ballin' like I'm Coos. All faith, God's plan, you just gotta choose. God slaps, nothing left to prove. Y'all gotta leave me alone. Lately I've been in my zone. Told them no cap like I fitted, but lately the flows have been straight off the dome. I feel like I'm MVP, like my name Patty Mahomes. If it ain't about money, don't hit on my phone, cause lately I've been in my zone.
Hello, welcome to the Cowboy Show, hosted by Ben Carey and Nick Gronerad, combining expert human opinions with cutting-edge simulation models to help you arrive at the best picks each week. Inside Edge Community. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
There we go. I said L transition. How we doing, boys and girls? How we doing? Baseball is in the air. You know what's funny? About 5 minutes ago, I looked at the bet stamp and I saw that the games are out. The lines have been posted for Thursday, so that's exciting. My Rockies, I think, are sitting at plus 160. Pretty much what I had them at. I actually was guessing plus 150 they were going to open up at, but yeah, I thought that was funny. I haven't really dove too much into the lines, but guys, after we drop this, we can run through some of my early thoughts on the lines that are out. So that will be pretty fun. Yeah, the goat whale's already kicked. Yeah, Trent. You know what's funny is I actually like a few of Trent's. I don't even know if you were referring to mine or his, but I definitely like a few of his. And I'm not just saying that, but there are a few where I'm like, Blake Snell. Love Blake Snell. Shout out Blake Snell, but I'm not sure about that. Yeah, Blake Snell. If you had to choose like the one that is going to cost the goat whale, definitely would go with Blake Snell. No doubt about that. Let's give a few more minutes for people to hop on in, and yeah, I'm gonna drop it. So I think what I'm gonna do. No, I like Blake Snell. Me and him are homies on Twitch. What I'm gonna do is most likely I'm going to share it on screen because what I don't want to happen is for me to like release 1 and then 2 and then 3 and then 4, and then by the time I get to 5 and 6, for some reason one of them gets bumped or one of them gets taken off. I hope that isn't the case. I hope that doesn't happen, but it certainly is a possibility, which kind of sucks, but that's how it is. And I think we just have to play by the rules and adapt to, you know, the books, or in this case, Prize Picks, moving anything. So the idea, and look, there's there's only 30 of us in here right now, and we're on Twitch, but hopefully, hopefully we can find some value. Or sorry, we did find value, but hopefully that these don't get moved and the value goes away is what I mean to say. So a lot of the props that I have, you can't find on the books. So it just kind of depends. No, there are some, and I also have a list of a few, and we also can go through some that you may have questions on. But no, I definitely have, I think, a few that you should be able to find on the books. So that's good. We got Clam Mucker up in this. Love to see it. Okay, so here's what I'm gonna do. Here is what I'm gonna do. I need to set this up. James, there's a few ways you can go about that, but I mean, the easiest is to find a proxy and someone who is in a legal state and have them place it for you. Okay. Yeah, I get worried about that. Okay. Are we ready? Are we ready? Can I get some W's in the chat if we're ready? If we're ready for this. Hold on one sec. My dogs are going crazy right now. All right. One sec. My dogs are excited for the goat whale, apparently. Damn, my dogs are pumped up. Neighbors are pumped up. Well, shit, if my dogs want prime rib, I better hit this thing. Okay. Let's share my screen here. Share screen. Can make this a little bigger. There we go. There we go. So we got Matt Olson over RBIs, Corey Seager over hits, Daniel Bard under saves, Clayton Kershaw under strikeouts, Framber Valdez under strikeouts, and then CJ Crone under RBIs. Shit already paid out. And I'll go through each one of these and kind of give you my take. And maybe Nick will come in and he can sell you on Valdez because he sold me. I have like a list of some that were like maybes, but 2 of them got taken down. So they were out of the equation. And then the other 4, I was kind of like, yeah, just kind of on the edge. Yeah, Nick, I'll send you the link. I mean, the sell job on that was amazing. And then the other research I found on top of that, I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. What's the most commonly available on books? That's a great question. I believe the strikeouts and the RBIs. I'm not sure about hits. I'm not sure. Like, I guess I didn't go to each person or each player and look up if they were on the books, but I know DraftKings has had a lot of props up. Did I miss something, Nick, with Nick, hold on. I'm going to send you, go to Twitter. I'm going to send you the link. I missed Heisenberg. What did I miss? 1 second. I'm going to send this to Nick. Also, the Kershaw play was a lean of mine, and then Peter was on it last night, and I was like, oh my gosh, perfect. I think it actually got bumped down a little bit. That's okay. I just hope it doesn't get bumped down some more. But Nick, I just sent that to you in Twitter DMs. Yeah, Peter's sharp. So here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna put. Great question, Ryan. So we need pitchers to play 15 games. Start 15 games. I guess play. I mean, most pitchers, the starting pitchers, they're gonna be starting. There could be some rare occasions where a guy gets, I guess, demoted to the pen and he has to accumulate games that way. But it is 15 starts, 15 games, and then for the players, it's 80 or 82 games, I believe. And Phil's Utley, appreciate the bang. 1 month, 2 months total. Seager already paid out. You had a great pitch on that. It was funny when you came on and pitched that. I was like, oh, that nice. Nice. And we'll talk a little bit about that. Yeah, Ryan, I do agree. I was actually thinking about like putting a substantial amount of money on this, but for that reason, I didn't put as much as I was thinking, because now you're basically saying, okay, you need said player to play 80 games, and then for the under, it's like, maybe you don't want them to play 160 games. So yeah, that a little unfortunate, but I get it. And the other thing too is for NFL, I did a 6-legger, and 5 out of 5 ended up hitting. Trey Lance DMP'd, so that one hit. And then I had my NBA second half, which is looking really good. Jokic is the last player that needs to come through for us, and that is under double doubles. Going to be super close. I'm actually, in a weird way, excited Embiid is out tonight, because there is a chance that Jokic plays limited minutes. So we just need 3 more games under a double double, and that hits. So looking pretty good. But yeah, one more time, and then I'll give the pitch on each of these. So we got Matt Olson over RBIs 101.5, Seager over 146.5 hits, Daniel Bard under 28.5 saves, Clayton Kershaw under 161.5 strikeouts, Framber Valdez under 129.5 strikeouts, and then CJ Crone under 88.5 RBIs. And Dante, that's one way to look at it, but we'll see. I think either way, with him playing, he was going to go off. All right. I'm gonna start running through kind of why I like some of these, and a lot of it, there some of it was based on the new rules. I will say that, not all of it, some of it. I think a lot of people out there are overanalyzing the new rules, but I also think some people are not considering the rules enough. I feel like there's a weird dichotomy going on right now with all that. And the last week, I really dove into things, and I'm saying, what is this shift or the no shift rule actually going to do to the scoring? So hopefully I can pull this up. Thinking right now. Oh, here's Nick. Let's bring Nick on. What up?
How's it going?
It's going pretty good.
Good. Wasn't planning on being on today, but I felt
I know,
obliged
I always
since
just
I had a contribution.
I know. I'm always like, Nick, come on. And you're like, okay. But yeah, you did have a contribution. Actually, let's just talk about Framber Valdez right now, because you're on, and yeah, give your reasoning, and then I have even some more stuff on top of what you said to me.
Okay, yeah. So let me pull up his Fangraphs page real quick.
Yeah.
So
You
Framber
can
Valdez.
share it too
Yeah.
if you want.
Yeah, give me 1 second. Boom.
Yes, Ryan, that's correct. One game. Boom.
Okay, so here's Framber Valdez. So his number on Prize Picks is set at 179 and a half strikeouts. And I like the under on that. So last season, Valdez pitched a full season, 31 starts. I think the most starts any pitcher had last year was 32. And there was like a couple who got 32 with scheduling, some got 31, but it's a full season, healthy season all the way through.
Yeah, Garrett Cole was one of them, and yeah, not a lot of guys went over 30 or got close to it, but he's one.
Yeah, so this is a full season, 200 innings, like the first time he'd ever pitched that anywhere close to that many innings. Okay, he was like at 134 the year before. And he had 194 strikeouts last season. So with that, so we have full season, highest K rate of his career in a full season. I mean, he pitched better in the COVID shortened season, but as far as full seasons go, this is the highest K rate he had ever had. And he had 194. So we have like 15 strikeouts of wiggle room from last year, again, with a full season career high K rate. So if the K rate dips a little bit, there's room for him to go under. I think the health is the bigger thing. If he goes on the 15-day IL once, this is looking great, let alone missing an extended period of time. The other thing about Framber Valdez is that he is an extreme. When I say extreme, I mean the most extreme by a pretty wide margin in the entire league ground ball pitcher.
Yeah, it's
Framber
actually
Valdez,
kind of insane.
Yeah. His ground ball rate last year was 66.5%. 66.5% of balls in play on the ground. And that's basically in line with his career total. So what happened this year? They banned the shift. What does that mean for ground balls? I mean, so what is the shift good for, right? It's good for the defense fielding ground balls.
Mm-hmm.
So without the shift, we're going to see more ground balls getting through the infield, and that negatively affects Framber more than it affects anybody else in the entire league. So what that means is it's just like more pitches per out for Framber.
Oops, I'm gonna share something here too that
Yeah.
kind of goes along with what you're saying. One sec. But yeah, no, I mean that was a great find. It aligns very well with everything with the shift, which is perfect.
Yeah, and also, I guess you took my screen share down.
Okay, there it is.
But,
sorry, I was just going to show
good.
you this with this pull rate, which I thought was really interesting. This is what I found, and I sent you this article.
Yeah, I read the article
today.
To me.
Yeah, and my takeaway from this is like with the shift, being eliminated. Like last year, with the ground ball rate, it was basically those lefties, and they could, Framber could basically say like, I'll let you hit it to the side of the field. I'll, pull it, and we're going to be waiting for it. And it, everything that you're saying, these numbers, and then not having this now, it's gonna eat up more pitches and more innings for him, which I think is just in turn not give him as many opportunities because his pitch count will go up.
Yeah, and Dubs makes an interesting point. I don't think it's so cut and dry, maybe like I was making it out to be, with Framber and with his like ground balls equals. I mean, obviously it's going to be more hits, right? But does that necessarily equal less strikeouts? And I don't think it's so cut and dry. It's not going to be so extreme. But the way that I'm kind of seeing it is, so if you have balls that are getting through, right, it's just more pitches that are not resulting in any kind of out. So it's going to be putting him in situations where you might be stringing together runs. They're going to go to the bullpen earlier a couple times in the season, or you might see a change in the way that he pitches, even if pitching to a different type of contact, perhaps, because this article actually goes into a lot of detail about Framber and his pitch style.
Arsenal, yeah,
he's basically like extremely just low in the zone all the time. So I mean, maybe that changes, just pitching to a different type of contact, because he's not going out there with like disgusting stuff.
Mm-hmm.
He's got good stuff. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, but it's not like
it's not like he's not like overpowering people with the fastball.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
But yeah,
no, that's a good point, because every pitcher you'll have to look at you'll have to look at their profile and say like, can they actually be more of a strikeout guy?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, Framber, based on his splits,
and so actually, and I think on this note, actually, I think what it does is I wouldn't be surprised if we see strikeout rates as a percentage of outs recorded go up kind of across the league this year, right? I mean, less outs on balls in play equals more outs on other things, aka strikeouts.
Mm-hmm.
So I wouldn't be surprised actually if K rates go up, including for Framber, but just the raw number of strikeouts. I mean, I think just more pitches per out equals less total strikeouts.
Yep.
For individual players.
Yep. I like it. And again, like going back to what you first said, like you would have to even come close to this. I think he would have to play another 30 or have another 30 starts, and he wouldn't have anything have to go wrong in that situation. And again, we're not hoping that happens, but if it does, we're in a really good position. So I just think that there's a lot more upside for this to go under than over.
Yeah, I think we kind of saw the upside strikeout wise from him last year.
Mm-hmm.
There's like aside from I don't know, just like developing something new. That's kind of the cap for strikeouts for Framber, because it was a full healthy season with the highest K rate of his career.
Yeah. No. I'm curious your thoughts on some of these other ones that I have.
Yeah. So can you pull the entry back up?
Yeah. Hold on one second. I forgot I'm not sharing my share screen, share entire screen. And I can run through them too.
Yeah. So let's jump around. I think the one that I'm most interested in is Daniel Bard.
Yeah.
So I will admit I haven't looked super closely recently. I did a pretty deep dive like a month ago. So I'm assuming that a lot more numbers have been posted since then, and I think saves are actually a great spot to target. So what's got you interested in Daniel Bard? Like, are you thinking that it's he's going to lose his job, or you think it's that the Rockies are going to be so bad that they don't get 28-9 saves as a team?
Actually, a little bit of everything, which is funny. It's actually one of my favorite ones, and one of the reasons why is because I don't think there are going to be that many save opportunities as last season. Now with Coors, naturally, the Rockies are going to have opportunities to to get on teams and to get on pitchers. We've seen that, right? We've talked in length about that with just, not even like a rookie or a young pitcher. I mean, you'll have really seasoned guys just have those bad starts and the Rockies get up. No, in those games, though, the score has to be within 3 runs or it's not a save opportunity. On top of that all, I just don't think the Rockies are going to be that competitive. And I mean, I have them going under 64, 65 wins. The only reason why they're not lower is just because of the Coors effect and just having those games at Coors. And 2, I was talking to someone close with the Rockies organization, and Hand is potentially going to get some opportunities to be kind of like the second closer. Now, Daniel Bard's still going to be the guy, but there's going to be games where I think they just keep him in and they give him an opportunity to close games out. So there's that too. I mean, that's going to affect things maybe by like 1 or 2 saves. It's not going to be anything crazy.
Mhm.
And then the last point I wanted to make is he didn't like look great in the World Baseball Classic, but that's a very last point. Like, that's not why I'm playing this. He could have had a flawless game in that World Baseball Classic. I still would play this, but he didn't look great. I think he gave up a home run or something. So
Yeah, I mean it's a extremely small sample size.
yeah. Mm-hmm. So yeah, that's kind of why I like it. It's low, right? I mean, 20.5 is pretty low, and he had 34.5, or sorry,
Yeah, he had 34 last year.
34. Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean he's been healthy 2 full seasons in a row.
Yeah, he should be healthy. Like, I'm not
Yeah.
worried about his health, or I'm not playing this because I think he's going to be out, but all those things.
Yeah, I mean it'll be interesting. I mean I think you need either him losing his job or B an injury for this to hit, if I'm being honest. But I think with a reliever,
Or the Rockies to have like the worst season.
yeah, but again, like the Rockies were atrocious last year and he had 34 saves because he pitched extremely well. I mean, you can pick up 34 saves if you win 68 games. That's like a save and half your wins.
That's true. Yeah. I do have him winning like 63. So
yeah. Well, I mean, still, yeah.
Too. So yeah, no, you're right. I mean, if he is the guy, and they don't put Hand in there at all, yeah, it's definitely going to be close.
Yeah. So the guy I was actually reading about bullpens. The guy I'm kind of interested in is Dinelson Lamet.
From the Padres.
Yeah, I think he's got, along with Bard, kind of the best raw stuff.
Yeah, Lamet has some
needs to get healthy.
Nasty shit. He's been hurt, right? He was hurt last year, I think.
Yeah, he had. I mean, no, I think he played like half the year last year, half the year before.
Mm-hmm.
Had Tommy John in like 2018.
Yeah.
And yeah, I kind of agree actually with Trent Attia's mother here in the chat. Like, if they win 63 games, he's going to get 29 saves.
Yeah, but they have to be in a safe position.
Yeah, but I mean,
So it's not.
That's just like half of the games are within safe position.
Yeah, I know. I guess I'm just saying that it's not, it's not as clear cut as. No, he did last year, but again, I wish I could tell you who told me that, but
yeah, but I think Bard is due for a little bit of regression.
Yeah, that too.
I think that's kind of the key thing. I'm on board with this.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so let's talk about Olsen. Let's just start from the top.
Yeah.
So I actually found a really good article, and I don't know if you heard what I was saying, Nick. I was saying that some people I think are looking way too much into the shift and how it's going to change things, and then there's like a handful of people that I think aren't looking enough into it, where they're almost downplaying as much. And I've tried to be in the middle because data tells all and numbers can tell most of the story. See if I can pull this up here. It was on Baseball Savant, and this is like the closest thing I've seen to. It's loading. I got a lot of tabs up. This is the closest thing I've seen to trying to estimate like what the elimination of the shift would be doing. Let me close out of some of this. And it had a list of guys from last season. And let's see here. I might have to send you the link to pull up, Nick.
Okay.
Let me do that here. I believe this is the right link. Oh wait. So there's a few. Also, another funny thing about Daniel Bard is in 2021 he hired a mental coach, and I think it worked. Like he got back on track. But I almost wonder now if after the World Baseball Classic, if he's flustered. Again, that's not one of the reasons why I chose this, but makes you think, right?
Yeah. Bard's just a crazy story in general.
Yeah, what's the rest of the story?
Yeah, so I mean, for those of you who don't know, Daniel Bard came up with the Red Sox back in 2009. I think he had an important role on a World Series team, if I'm not mistaken, for the Red Sox at one point.
Mm-hmm.
But completely fell off a cliff in like 2012. Pitched one inning in 2013, and then was out of baseball. Was out of the MLB for 7 years. Was retired from professional baseball completely for 4 years. And then, for whatever reason, made a comeback with the Rockies, and just turned into a really high quality reliever again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, to take that much time off too.
Yeah, I mean, it was a long ass time. He didn't pitch at all. 2014, 2015, 2016, 2017, 2018, 2019, and just one inning in 2013.
Oh wait, did I get it?
I think you got it. I have it up to him.
Okay, here's one of them, Nick. So this shows, this shows total shift by team. So the Dodgers were one of those teams.
Is this shifts performed defensively, or is this shifts that you've seen when you're batting?
I believe this is shift by the defense.
Okay, yeah, it's his player type pitcher.
Yeah. So the Dodgers were one of those teams who shifted the most. Hold on, I'm trying to get this other one up. Had all the links ready to go, and then okay. I found the one I want to pull up. So this is players who saw this shift the most. And I believe this is from 2008. But one of those guys is Corey Seager. And I'm trying to find the other link, but basically you can adjust this and do it by batting average expected and sort it by hit to the shortstop. At least this is like, again, somewhat of an imperfect way to figure out how many hits were taken away from the shift, but Corey Seager was number one by far. I think he had over 20 hits based off this taken away from the shift last season. So that's why he's one of my players I put in this GOAT wheel.
Any concerns about Corey Seager's health?
I mean, yeah, because didn't he miss a few seasons a while back?
Yeah, I mean, he missed a lot of time in 2021, in 2018 as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's always concern.
He hasn't gone over this number since 2017.
What was he at last year? I didn't even look.
145. So he's like technically not on this number
gotcha.
last year, but he was close last year.
That's right.
Before that, he had 133 in 2019, 159 in 2017, 193 in 2016.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is partly kind of going into it too. Again, I had all these links; they're just not working. But yeah, you can list out the players based on the sorting, and yeah, he was one of those players who got basically screwed the most from the shift. Is that predictive? It's like, maybe. Like we can't say that that's gonna, exactly be the case, and he needs to be healthy out there. But If I'm going to be playing stuff like this, I'm like, all right, there potentially could be an edge on a guy like Seager.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I get like you said, he hit 245 last year, and his expected batting average was 283.
Yeah,
just based on like batted ball profile.
Yeah, which is pretty crazy.
Yeah, I mean, and you should expect within some small error for those two numbers to match up.
So based on what I gathered, this is what they used. They went to metric and they said XBA batting average, and then
that's the expected batting average.
Yeah, and hit to the shortstop. So again, it's like, I guess it was 26. These were all outs. It's hard to say if all 26 of those would have resulted in a hit, right? Like a lot of that is just like, we could look at all 26 and we would have to decide like, okay, that one, maybe not,
Yeah.
But
I mean,
again,
no surprise, but this is clearly an angle that you're on here. And I like this angle also with Seager on the over hits and the Olsen RBIs. So then do you want to transition maybe into talking about Olsen?
Yeah. And I do want to say I definitely wasn't just like, 1 and 2, I'm playing him. It didn't work out that way, but it definitely helped my narrative. So why Olsen, you said?
Well, no, so not why Olsen, but why Olsen RBIs and not hits? And why Seager hits and not RBIs?
They didn't have hits for Olsen.
So would you have liked hits for Olsen if it was there?
Absolutely. If you guys can find hits anywhere, I mean, I would have to see the number, but that would probably be the better play.
So then also why are you still happy with RBIs when it's a lot less dependent on just what he's doing?
I think one of the reasons why is because I'm higher on the Rangers than the rest of the market. And I think offensively, I do think they will see an uptick. So that's one of the reasons why more guys are going to be on base.
No, talking Olsen, so the Braves.
Oh, we're talking Braves. Sorry. Oh, same thing with the Braves. Same thinking. Now the market's already high on the Braves as it is, but like Riley's looked really good in spring training. Acuna, and the thing with Olsen, this is something that I was doing a little research on. Guys playing in their first year with a new team, sometimes they don't see the production as maybe everyone expects, right? Like everyone's like, new player, like hoping that he just takes off right where he left off. And Olsen last year, I think his batting average was under 250. Now, if you look at him as a whole, he still had a decent season because he's not a player who you like the way he is approaching the plate. He's trying to hit for power, I would say, for the most part. So he's not a guy who really needs to have like a 300 batting average for success. But I believe with the A's, Nick, he was closer to 280, right?
He hit 271 his last year in Oakland. That's his career high.
Yeah. If he hits 271, he flies over this RBI mark.
Well, I mean, he had 103 RBIs last year, hitting 240.
Exactly.
So yeah, so as long as you're getting guys on base.
Yeah. And
as long as you're staying healthy.
Yeah, and it's funny because
he played a full 162 games last year and went over this by 1.5.
Exactly. Yeah. So even if he plays 150 and he goes over, his batting average, we just need those guys on base. So that was kind of my angle here.
Yeah. So I have just like a general question for you that I think is an important one with these season-long prize picks is so how much are you thinking about health, and not even like an individual player's injury risk, but just like with an over, like how resilient is this prop to this player spending 15 days on the injured list at one point, or with an under, like how resilient is this prop if they're healthy the entire season?
Yeah, I would say quite a bit. For the most part, every one of these players, I kind of came up with an average of what I expect them to play, the number of games, and there's not like the easiest way to do that because
you can look at like Zips projections or whatever.
Yeah, but again, what are they projecting an injury?
I mean, I think just based on the depth that the team has and
Mm-hmm.
players' historic injury risk, you can get. I mean, it's not going to be an exact projection, of course.
Yeah.
I mean, might just get like hit in the face with a 100-mile-an-hour fastball, right?
Yeah.
You can't project that,
Mm-hmm.
but I mean, you can get like an average.
No,
or a median.
for a guy like Crone, this was a big part of it, and he's already having back issues in spring training. And again, this was another thing where I was talking to some riders, and they're like, well, first and foremost, I think Crone is going to get shipped at the deadline. That made this really interesting too, right? Where I'm like, oh shit, okay, that's a added variable. But the thing with the Rockies, Nick, is I do expect that offense, like I mentioned, just to take a step back. And I think teams aren't going to pitch to Crone as much as they did last year.
They're gonna take a step back from what?
I mean, offensively,
I guess they were okay last year.
They're okay. Yeah, they were okay last year, but I don't think anyone, well, not anyone, but 99% of people couldn't name like 5 starters on this team.
Yeah, so, Rockies are interesting this year.
Yeah, and I think Brendan Rodgers being out is huge, right? Like, Nick, if Rodgers is in the lineup, I don't play this. Easy as that.
Yeah,
that was the difference maker. And sure, Ryan McMahon and Chris Bryant, but I mean, Chris Bryant played 25 games last year, maybe not even that. How much can we expect him to be in the lineup? And then, with the trade, that could kind of throw a curveball in it, depending on who gets traded.
I almost feel like if you're down on the Rockies, then a trade for Crone would be good for RBIs.
Yeah, but then it cancels out him playing at Coors as much, so it's just kind of like net, I guess. It's hard to say, but
yeah, I mean, it's entirely dependent on whatever situation he lands in.
Mm-hmm. Oh, did we get a sub bang?
We did get a sub bang coming in from Micah. Thank you, Micah.
Appreciate you, man. Okay, and then the last one I didn't talk about yet is Kershaw. What are your thoughts on that one?
I'm curious what your handicap is.
Yeah, so I had this written down as a lean for myself, and then Peter pitched it magnificently yesterday in a Twitter space. But the number I think was 165, and it got booted down. And I still like the under. I think the reason why, Nick, is because the depth of the Dodgers pitching and the rotation. I think they have Heaney in the lineup. I was just looking at it. They have plenty of guys who can come in. I don't think Kershaw is going to be a guy who is going to come in and just eat up innings. You saw that last year. I mean, he was out a lot of the season last year. I think he only had 20 starts. But they have to keep him healthy for the playoffs. And when you have a team like the Dodgers, I mean, they have so much talent where the chances of them not to make the playoffs has to be like 5%, which is just it sucks because I'm a Rockies fan, and the chances for us to make the playoffs, I think, it's like 0.8%, so that sucks. But that has a lot to do with this. And, you can't really go off last year as much because if he does play, if he has 27 starts, 26 or 27 starts, this probably goes over.
No, so maybe not, honestly.
Well, it depends how deep he plays in games too, Nick.
Yeah, so I mean, looking at years past for Kershaw, and again, he's getting older, so his K rates are probably going down. And in fact, it stabilized. I'm just looking at his stats right now, like 9.5 K per 9, more or less, down from 10.5 earlier in his career. But so 2019, he made 28 starts and struck out 189. In 2018, he had 26 starts and struck out 155.
Oh,
so even going back 5 years, where he was a better pitcher than he is now, we've seen a 26 start season from him where he went under this number.
I had him at 6 Ks per game last year, but again, it was a shortened season for him, so maybe that's not the best way to go about it. So that's where I came up with that 27 mark to say, like, if he has 6 Ks per game, 27 starts, that's 162. So I don't know. There's not the most perfect way to do this, but that was one thing I thought to myself. I'm like, if he goes over 26, 27 starts, I'm not feeling as good about this. but it is possible still, as you just mentioned.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. But I'm on board here. And the Dodgers have so much pitching depth. Like they have MLB quality pitchers who are just going to be starting the year in AAA.
It's freaking stupid. Yeah, like Heaney would be like the second best pitcher on the Rockies.
Isn't Heaney not on that team anymore?
No, I think he's on them.
Is he? No,
Yeah.
he's on the Rangers now. He was on the Dodgers last year.
Oh, so maybe my source was incorrect. What is their rotation then?
Kershaw, Bueller, Anderson, I would guess.
Urias, Goslin,
and Gonsolin is in there.
Gonsolin,
and then I think one of them is on IL to start the year. I don't know who.
Mm-hmm.
But then there's like Grove, Pepio. There's a lot of dudes.
Syndergaard. Brett, is he ready to go? Start the season?
I don't know.
It's funny how we don't even mention Syndergaard. It's like, oh yeah, and they have Syndergaard too. Dustin May.
I kind of think Gavin Stone is actually supposed to be the 5th starter for them.
Mm-hmm.
But
they have Yency Almonte too, but he'll be out of the pen.
Yeah, I mean, but they have a million options. It's not like they're gonna rush Kershaw back if he's not healthy or anything. I mean, they've got legitimately probably 7, 8, 9, 10 guys who are MLB quality starters.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so there it is. There were a few that didn't make the cut, but I liked a little bit. I mean, I was looking at Lindor under 1.5 multi-home run games. That was another one. Bregman and Kyle Tucker over hits was another one. And then Yordan Alvarez over hits or RBIs was one that I was looking at. What else did you have? You had a few others that you liked, right?
Yeah. So my other favorite one got taken down because the player got hurt. It was the Adam Wainwright, I think, under 0.5 10+ strikeout games. But he's going to be on the IL for a couple of years. Not a couple of years, a couple. That would suck.
No, that sucks. They took that down. That was like one of my favorites, to be honest.
Yeah. I liked also the DeGrom over 10+ K games, but that got bumped. I think it was at 8.5 and it's up to 9 now. Yeah. And that's a pretty big difference. And the thinking on the DeGrom over was, so if he, the big concern with him is injuries, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if he makes 15+ starts, he's probably hitting this. And if not, you're just void. Like I think there's a very, very narrow range. Or I guess I should say it's much more likely that he goes 15+ starts and hits this, and he goes 15+ starts and doesn't hit it.
Yeah, I remember that being a point where, the likelihood of it hitting versus not is, or I guess the push, right, is, or the void is in your favor.
So,
what about Hunter Green? Someone brought that up, and that actually was one that I was looking at for both his over 10K games, 4.5, and then his season long. But his injuries, though, that's one thing that scared me a little bit because the way he throws, and he's had injuries in the past, but I could say the same with Corey Seager, and I have him. So,
yeah, I mean, so I think the thing with Hunter Green is just getting to that many innings. So can you? I guess I can pull up Prize Picks.
Damn, it was at 2.5. Nick, when we first talked about it, it was at 2.5. Do you remember that?
For 10+ K games?
Yeah. So maybe 4.5 isn't looking as good.
No, God, no.
3.5, maybe I would definitely play. And I think that's why I didn't have it down. It's 4.5. You need 5 10K games out of a guy who is still young. It's kind of scary.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if there's a guy to do it, it's probably Hunter Green. I mean, his stuff is disgusting.
Yeah. He had 8 Ks and I think 3 innings and he got pulled because he was giving up hits.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the concern. So I mean, Hunter Green threw 125 innings last year, and had never thrown more than like 110 in a year before that. So I mean, he's probably capped at 160 innings this year.
Mm-hmm.
And if he throws 160 innings, I mean, he probably gets 200 strikeouts, which is this number. I mean, he's
Wait,
at
where are you getting
189 and a half.
160?
I mean, I'm just thinking of projecting him forward. Also, I mean, so on Fangraphs they have different projection systems.
Yeah, what do they have him?
So anywhere from 144 up to 168.
Yeah,
and it looks like 160 is kind of the average
Middle.
number. So that's where I'm getting 160
yeah,
from.
because if he does have less of those games where he just gives up hits and runs, he could be in a little longer, because there were a few starts where he was literally taken out in the second inning. So maybe, you know, the strikeouts on the season would be a little better than 4.5 10K games. I think it's a little high at this point.
Yeah. I mean, it's interesting, right? So if you're betting on the 4.5 10 plus K games, it's almost like a hedge against injury in a way.
Yeah, I totally agree.
I mean, it is and it isn't, right? I mean, you'd like to have more games for more dart throws to hit the 10 plus Ks.
But it can still hit if they only have.
Yeah, but if he goes out and he's the best pitcher on earth for 2 months and then gets hurt for the rest of the
Yeah.
year,
Right.
then you're chilling.
Right. Lodolo 3-run 3K inning games. I think Trent has Lodolo as one of his.
Oh, of course he does.
Yeah. Did you see it?
No, I didn't. I haven't looked at Trent's.
He had Blake Snell.
Do you want to do a critique of Trent's?
Yeah, go find it and then we'll pull it up. I actually agree with most of them, which is funny. But there's a few where I'm just kind of like, definitely Snell's one of them. But I get it, you know, Snell. They rated him one time. It's definitely a emotional play to some extent, and same thing with Lodolo too, because I think Trent knows him from college.
Yeah.
So
okay, so here's the Super Goat.
You zoom in.
No.
Oh, that's fine. Oh, he has his video.
Yeah, I mean, is there a screenshot of it somewhere?
No.
I only saw the video.
No, that's fine.
If somebody has a screenshot, just send the link in chat.
Oh, I forgot you had to show it.
Yeah, I mean, so of course it's all overs, right?
Yeah, on brand.
Somebody is going to get hurt and fuck this up. That's just the way baseball works.
Any sport with 5-6 legs, right? Like,
yeah. I'm actually surprised that you had 2 overs. I like the looks, but
I was running out of things because everything was getting bumped or taken down. So Altuve was one of them too, under 1.5 multi home run games. It would have been Altuve, and then it would have been Wainwright. That would have made the other 2. But
yeah, I really liked that Wainwright one.
Yeah, that was it. So then if I had 2 other unders, I felt like I was forcing it at this point.
Yeah,
so,
no, I mean, you just take the best squares regardless of what they actually are.
Okay, so what's his first one? Shohei?
Shohei home runs.
That's like the squarest, I guess Trout would be a little more. Maybe the Trout isn't, but
yeah,
I don't hate it. I
don't hate it. It feels kind of like the right number. I mean, if he plays a full season, he's probably 65% to hit it. If he goes on the IL for 15 days, he's probably 40% to hit it. If he goes, I mean, he had 157 games as a batter last year, 666 plate appearances, and had 34 homers.
And if Ohtani gets hurt, he's usually still in the lineup unless it's something really bad. Like they'll take him out of the pitching rotation, but they will still keep him out there.
Yeah, he's played a full season's worth of games at the plate 2 years in a row.
Yeah. But yeah, pitching wise,
Yeah, but we don't have to worry
It's a
about that
little
for this.
Yep.
As long as he doesn't need like Tommy John or anything.
He's still out there trying to. No, you can't.
Fucking torn.
Because that's
torn
what
UCL.
that's what
Trying to go hit.
Brendan Rodgers has. I think he had to get Tommy John. And he's obviously out. So
Yeah.
Well, he's in the field too. So they're like, hey, can you pitch or can you throw with your left hand? Just like train him.
Yeah. So what's interesting. I'm sure several people know this. Some might not know this though. So, Tommy John surgery. The injury that requires Tommy John surgery is a torn UCL. The UCL is one of the ligaments in your elbow. And Ben, massive credit if you actually know the answer to this. I'll pose it as a trivia question because it's more fun and for chat too. So there was a pitcher, not in the MLB anymore, old and retired, who didn't even have a UCL in his arm.
I've heard about this, but I cannot name him. Can you give us like the year or like what era?
Yeah, 1 second.
Are you saying he was born without one or he had it removed in a surgery?
Let me clarify on that also.
Yeah, that's actually kind of interesting. I guess Harper is just but Harper was DHing though, right? My dad said
No, he was just completely born without it.
Dickey.
Yep, your dad got it. It was R.A. Dickey.
Wait, what years did he play?
1996 through 2016.
Okay. He was with the Blue Jays for a little bit.
Or through 2017. He won the Cy Young in 2012 with
that's crazy.
The Mets.
Okay, I remember the name now.
Knuckleballer. Just an interesting pitcher in general.
What up, CDO? That's crazy though. That's a fun stat.
I like how is that even possible? Like, how do you just not have a UCL?
I mean, it's probably super rare, and it's probably really rare that he ended up being a baseball player.
Yeah, and a good one.
I was waiting for someone in chat to say like, "Oh, I don't have a UCL."
Yeah,
but how do you know that?
So Dickey, he came up into the bigs as just like a regular pitcher, and like was hurt and bad. So then like they did a medical and was like, "Oh, you don't have a UCL." That was after he switched to the knuckleball though.
Mm-hmm. So are you saying that those two things did not have an impact on each other?
Oh no, it probably did.
Yeah,
I'm sure it did.
Okay, so we got Shohei.
Yeah, I think the Shohei prop is fine.
Yeah,
I think it's quite health dependent, but oops, that's not what I wanted to do.
Mookie, man, it's a lot of hits.
Yeah, it's a lot of hits.
But he can, if he stays healthy, I think he goes over this.
Probably. I mean, he had, this is funny. So Shohei's line is 34.5. He had 34 home runs last year. Mookie's line is at 154.5. He had 154 hits last year. So the last time he went over this was actually back in 2019. I mean, 2020 doesn't count, but the last 2 years he's been under it. It's been for health reasons. I mean, he's hit well, but I mean, he played 142 games last year, 122 games the year before. So I mean, that's the big concern. If he goes out there and he plays 140 games, he probably doesn't get this.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So that one definitely worries me just a little bit.
Yeah, I agree. So I'm looking at the projection systems. Zips has him at 145 hits this year. Jose Ramirez, RBIs.
I don't have a lot of thoughts with this one, but what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, the RBIs are so tough. I mean, Jose Ramirez is a beast. And I guess the Guardians do have some players in front of him who can get on base. but it's a lot of RBIs on a pretty mid team. Again, I think you're really banking on a full season out of Ramirez.
Definitely.
Which he probably will do. He's not really a guy with any kind of injury history.
Also, Nick, interesting point in the chat about knuckleballers. I thought one of the reasons why there aren't more knuckleballers is because they just felt hitters can over time just tee off on them. Like if you make contact with a good knuckleballer, it's like, essentially it's a home run or it's an extra base hit.
I think it's a couple things. I think another thing is there's like not good infrastructure to teach young players how to throw a knuckleball correctly.
You got a knuckleball academy?
Yeah, I mean, but that's kind of what you need, right? Like every pitching coach,
they don't know
up to their level of quality, right? I mean, like they know how to teach you to grip a fastball and a changeup and a slider and a curveball and whatever, right? But like, how many people are really able to help young players properly and effectively fine tune a knuckleball?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a good point. It's not like Tim Wakefield the coach taught him how to do it, right? Like, I don't think coaches in the pin are actively teaching players how to.
Yeah, no, like exactly. If you're the coach of the high school baseball team, right? Are you spending practice time teaching everybody how to throw a knuckleball?
No,
you're not. Because like that, you're going to lose all your games if you spend your practice time teaching your kids how to throw a knuckleball.
Imagine like a guy trying to throw it. He's just throwing like the EFIS pit. It's basically just like a 40 mile per hour hanger over the zone.
Yeah, so it's a cyclic thing, a circular thing. There's not a lot of knuckleballers because there's not a lot of knuckleballers.
I honestly don't think it has to do with the catchers as much, like as far as the catchers not wanting to catch knuckleballs. I think if anything, they'd want to catch those over fucking heaters.
No, I think
maybe not. I don't know, but I don't
knuckleballs are hard to catch. Like Tim Wakefield had a dedicated catcher.
Yeah, because it's moving so much.
Yeah, it's like legitimately hard to catch a knuckleball, like every single time. And if you're dropping 3 of them in a game, like you're the worst catcher in the league by a mile.
Yep.
So
okay, so Jose
and then Jose's fine. Blake Snell.
Yeah, I'm a little worried about this one. It's a lot of strikeouts, first and foremost.
It is a lot of strikeouts.
And Blake Snell, I mean, has he had a season where he's been healthy throughout? I mean, in Tampa Bay.
In Tampa, yeah. So he's hit this number once in his career. That was back in 2018. Mm-hmm. I mean, this is like a lot of strikeouts. So he's pitched. There also, I will say, there's a lot of room for improvement out of Snell.
Oh yeah.
So the last 2 years, he's pitched 128 innings basically each time with 170 Ks. So if he can bump that up to 140 innings, this number looks good because on a per inning basis, he's one of the better strikeout pitchers in the league.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a matter of actually playing all of those innings, which has always been the issue for Snell. I mean, he's pitched more than 130 innings in his career once, and he's 30 years old. So, I mean, 130 innings kind of feels like a fair and safe projection for him.
Yeah.
So, I will say, though, Zips has him at 152 innings, 192 Ks.
Yeah, I mean, I think if he's healthy and he's proven he can have those types of seasons, it's just been interesting to see how he's been with the Padres.
Yeah.
He hasn't been pitching bad, but I don't think they've had a season out of him, even injuries aside, that were on par with what he did in Tampa Bay.
Yeah, well, I mean, he won the Cy Young, right?
Yeah.
In 2018.
Yeah.
I mean, but that's like the one full season he's pitched.
Yeah. So what you're saying is if he can stay healthy, he will win a Cy Young. Breaking news.
Maybe. I mean, he's really good.
Yeah, he's got some nasty stuff. And he's cool to chat with, too.
Yeah, cool dude. Everybody go follow Blake Snell on Twitch.
Yeah, he's an OG.
All right, last one, Nick Lodolo.
I mean, this is first and foremost, this is just a Trent, like, hey, you're my buddy
Yes.
to start with. Not to say it's not a good or bad pitch, but I don't know. I don't really know. I mean, he's a young pitcher. What did he do last year?
103 innings and 19 starts, 131 Ks. So I mean, he's at like 11 and a half strikeouts per nine, which
Pretty
is
good.
a lot. That's extremely good.
That's good.
That's in the top 10 or 15% probably.
How many innings on average was he pitching in a start?
A little over 5.
Okay, that's fair. Because sometimes I feel like it can be a little misleading when you have pitchers who aren't going deeper because you naturally are going to give up more hits and less strikeouts.
No, not necessarily. I mean, in fact,
But it's
I think
correlated.
a lot of really, really high strikeout pitchers will pitch less innings because it requires more pitches to strike somebody out than it does to induce a ground out.
Yeah.
So you can throw 100 pitches in 5 innings with a lot of strikeouts. You can throw 100 pitches in 7 innings with a lot of ground balls.
I guess what I'm saying though is the third time through a rotation or through a batting lineup is typically when batters have the most success against said pitcher. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I mean that's totally true, but that's equivalent for everybody. That's not something that's more or less useful for.
Yeah, but I guess my point is
pitchers.
when he isn't seeing guys the third time through the lineup, his K through 9 is going to be a little inflated, I guess.
We can actually look at this,
right?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not kidding. We can I can go split school for Nick Lodolo. And I think that we can split it on third time, like order.
Oh, by the way, this is Trent's, everyone. Make that very clear.
Yeah, I mean, if it wasn't clear by the fact that it's
yeah, I just want
screenshot of Trent's TikTok.
I want to make sure DMAC, this is Trent's. Ours is or mine, and I bet we can say ours, Nick, because you did contribute with Fromber.
I have one on here.
Yep.
But
I totally agree with what you're saying.
Yeah, hold on. How do I? Oh, okay. So Lodolo, first time through the order, 13.6 K per 9. I guess 36.3 K percentage.
That's really good.
Second time through the order, 24% K percentage.
Not
Third time through the order, 28% K percentage.
Do they have enough data on fourth time, or she's not in enough?
Fourth time through the order, never faced anybody a fourth time.
That's really good.
But he did have 100 plate appearances sample size. Third time through the order.
I mean, the first time through that is that like one of the highest marks? You're almost striking out.
Yeah, I can go to Split's leaderboard and literally.
Yeah. Are you on Fangraphs doing that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I know what you're doing.
And by the way, everybody, the Fangraphs Split's leaderboards are amazing.
Yeah. Pretty easy to use. My favorite team is the Rockies. Yay.
Oh, I need this to be just starters and not.
The reason why I'm bringing this up, Nick, is because if he goes deeper into games, I think his K through or his K per 9 is going to be lower, but I guess it doesn't really matter because we're trying to have him hit over 177 strikeouts. So it's kind of like whatever.
Yeah. I mean, at the same time, also, I'd like to see what that looks like in a second season because a lot of that is conflated with like the first time through the order for a lot of those players is just the first time they've ever seen Lodolo in their career.
Ooh, that's a good point too. And they're just
and as a rookie, like there's no film.
Yeah. Which is why I'm scared of this because I mean, we saw what happened with Kyle Freeland. I always try to use that example, right? And there were some other things going on, but it's rare that you see a guy in his second year outperform his first year when his numbers are higher. I'll put it that way as a pitcher. It happens, but it doesn't happen as often.
Yeah. So Lodolo, 7th in the league out of 153 qualified players in K percentage first time through the order.
We'll see how that holds up in year 2.
Yeah. So the full top 10, number 1, Spencer Strider. Number 2, Jesus Luzardo. Number 3, Hunter Green. 4, Brandon Woodruff, Heaney, Christian Javier, Lodolo, Verlander, Gosman, Rodon.
It's like either you're a young pitcher with not a lot of film or you're a fucking OG. But I guess that's not really a surprise. Imagine like in poverty teams. Okay, NFL material. I think that just makes me more of a man, if anything, that I'm still a Rockies fan.
Yeah. Heaney on that list is crazy.
That is kind of like a random.
Yeah.
Just he's random. Yeah.
His K rate just in general was absurd last year.
Mm-hmm.
I got a lot of shit. Not last season, but the year before, for saying that Andrew Heaney was a decent pitcher.
I remember that. People are like, "What?" I remember that stream. People were freaking out.
It wasn't just that stream. It was like especially after he got traded to the Yankees. It was like every single time he pitched and inevitably gave up home runs. People like Nick, this guy sucks. Like this guy sucks. Like no, he's a decent pitcher. He was getting unlucky, and it was a bad, especially with New York, a bad ballpark situation as a fly ball pitcher.
Yeah, terrible.
But
spot.
Heaney is not a great pitcher, but he's a fine pitcher. Not a guy you're upset to have in the rotation.
I was talking to Peter about that Senga pitcher from the Mets. He's like their 3rd rotational guy, and he's pretty interesting. He has some nasty ass shit. Like, I'm very curious to see how teams perform against him in like his first few starts seeing him. Because sure, there could be film, but he definitely has some pitches that have all sorts of movement. But apparently he's not using his forkball this year. That's what I read an article, CDL. It said he's going to lead behind the forkball, but maybe that's all talk. And then the first pitch of the game, it's a forkball.
Here comes the fork and forkball.
You're like, what the heck? And then Nick, imagine seeing DeGrom, or I guess DeGrom's gone, but imagine seeing like Verlander and Scherzer, and then you had to see him. Like 3 completely different types of approach, right? Like Scherzer's just the way Scherzer dominates the mound and he's so aggressive. He comes right at you. Verlander, I feel like, does a little bit of that, but he's definitely a guy who hits his spots. And then you have Senga with whatever he brings. So like it's not an easy 1, 2, 3 right there. Oh, because he had a blister. So if the blister goes away, maybe he brings it back.
Well, I mean,
or maybe they just say we shouldn't risk.
Yeah. So you know who's a really interesting pitcher this year? It's a random name. Do you know who Ben Joyce is?
Does he have relation to? Wasn't there a pitcher named Joyce or a coach?
There was a Matt Joyce who was like a first baseman, DH, corner outfielder type of dude. I have no idea if it's Matt's brother.
I'll look it up right now. What about him?
So he's a relief pitcher for the Angels. Probably going to make the major league team. Not confirmed. 105 mile an hour fastball.
Oh, he's the Tennessee guy.
Yeah, he's the Tennessee guy.
Yeah.
He's literally since high school, he's pitched less than 50 innings.
Because he's always hurt, right?
Yeah. But I was hearing rumblings that he could basically instantly make a push for the Angels closer job.
Crazy. 105. At that point, you're swinging as they release the ball, man. That's insane.
Yeah.
Who's the Vandy pitcher that didn't the Mets pick him up?
Rocker.
Is he still like a year out?
Probably. I don't know.
Kumar. Because he was throwing what, like 103 pretty consistently?
I don't think it was that. I don't think it was that high. He was a starter.
He's just
But yeah,
really good.
he's with the Rangers now. I think the Rangers drafted him last year.
Yeah, I guess you're right. He gets up to like 98, 99, but
I mean, still,
yeah,
it'll be interesting to see.
yeah, because isn't that the whole thing with the Mets? Like, if there's any concern, they're just like, well, too much of a risk. Who sells? I think Lodolo or Snell.
From Trent's.
I mean, you can make a case. You can make a case for the ones I pitched too. Like,
Yeah, I mean, it's whoever gets hurt, aside from Blake Snell. Blake Snell can spend a month on the injured list and still hit his number.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody else misses a month and they're done.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, so
I'll be right back.
Okay. Yeah. You know it's crazy. Speaking of Duran, so Duran throws heat, and he added like in spring training this year, he's added like 3 miles an hour to his split finger. Let me actually. So I have a. Let me pull this back up. I was looking for this earlier today, actually. So I think one of the most interesting things is looking at velocity changes for pitchers in spring training. And we've got this spring training velocity rises. So look at Johan Duran here, adding speed to his splitter, 97 mile an hour splitter. That's disgusting. That's absolutely insane. Duran is an absolute freak. And Spring Fatty, yeah, absolutely with futures. I mean, that's why when you look at the one that, I mean, mostly Ben, and I had one contribution to it, is it's 4 unders and 2 overs, because especially with baseball, I mean, like it's very rare for players to go out and play every game. And certain players also are definitely quite susceptible to injuries. It's a massive consideration. I mean, it's pretty easy to go and say like, okay, if this guy goes out and plays 162 games, we can this is like kind of where we would expect him to be. Like that's easy, but like the hard thing is I mean, if he plays 150 games, what does he look like? If he plays 140 games, what does he look like? Or if the pitcher goes out and makes 30 starts versus 25 starts. So I think trying to find for overs, guys who are good to hit, even if they spend 15 days on the IL. And for unders, guys whose number you like, even if they play the entire season. And
where is this from?
Squares that we're looking for. I was responding to a chat comment. Oh, this is a post that somebody made on Reddit.
Oh, nice.
It's a spring training velocity changes. So if you looked at this last year, this would have been the big piece of evidence pointing towards Jesus Luzardo's big breakout.
Yeah, because he was killing it in spring training.
Well, I mean, yeah, not killing it. The stats don't matter.
Yeah, yeah.
It's just the underlying stuff.
Profile. Yep. Bo, he's with the Tigers, right? Still.
Yeah, it's actually a lot of Tigers on this list. Garrett Hill, Tigers pitcher. Bo Breesky, Tigers pitcher. I mean, Hill, I think, is confirmed starting in the minors. But Breesky might be up to start the year. He might be the number 5.
He paid his dues last year. He got rocked a few games, but
he got better.
Yeah, he did. So I'm
going to be watching if he is the number 5 starter. Like a little look on the Tigers in that first game.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, here's the equivalent for velocity decline. And yeah, so there's a couple notable names on here: Chris Bassett, and Zach Gallen.
I like Zach Gallen.
I think that there was one of them that was down like 5 miles an hour in one start. I think Bassett.
Wait, what's the top?
And then he's been fine since then. So I don't think Bassett is all that important.
What pitch
Gallon
was
I'll
that?
be watching out for. This is changeups here.
Oh, changeup.
Yeah, so losing velocity on your changeup can actually be a good thing
Yeah.
if it differentiates it more from the fastball.
Fastball, though, it's harder to make an argument.
Mm-hmm.
But, the other thing that this doesn't take into consideration is, I guess, movement. Because technically, like Gallon, I mean, I'm just giving a hypothetical. You could lose velocity, but like have enough increase on the movement. But,
yeah, absolutely. But I
but
mean,
this is a
if
good.
you're losing 2.5 miles an hour, you need a hell of a lot of movement.
This is a good place to start.
And also,
though.
if you're losing velocity on other pitches too, it's probably not adding movement. It's probably just you have something tweaked in your arm.
Rich Hill.
Rich Hill's just old.
Yeah.
Oh. And yeah, CDL, I agree with Tyler McGill. He was so good for like 10 starts last year. He was so good. And then he got hurt and pitched through it, and his season-long numbers look like shit because of it. But he was really good.
What does this mean? Is he on one of these lists, or did they take him off Prize Picks? I can't tell. Lodolo.
Oh, I mean,
is he on the list?
I don't think so. I think Lodolo's just GG's because he's in Trent's entry.
Oh, yeah, he's GG's. That's interesting about Gallon, though.
Yeah. Also, what's interesting is like, look at this. Look who's number one, Adam Wainwright. Right? He's already on the IL. Also, look who's on here, number 3.
Oh yes. I'm like happy.
Are there Chris Bat? So I know there's Gallon. We take Gallon unders, just handicapping off this, but I think the increases are probably more
of a sign than decreases
with prediction than they're probably more useful. Oh, and Lodolo was on the. Lodolo is on the fastball list.
Yeah, I saw him at the bottom. Kind of weird.
Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. I mean, but it's a big difference going from 94.5 to 92.5.
Yeah.
DL Hall is also an interesting inclusion there.
What team is he on again?
The Orioles. It's like a flamethrower.
Oh, yeah.
But maybe not anymore.
It's a stupid comment, but it's funny.
Rachel losing velocity on the Rascal Scooter.
Every time I see, like, the thing about Rich Hill is if you try to bet against him and then you like watch the game, you like lose your mind because you're like, how is he getting away with leaving guys on base and this and that? But that's just how he pitches. But it's like it's a guy that's hard to bet against because if you watch the game, you're gonna lose your fucking mind. And I was that guy last year a few times.
See this one right here, Ben?
Oh, Bradish, yeah.
That's your boy.
It's my boy. Wait, so he went up a little bit
on his curveball.
Yeah.
I mean, the fastball and fastball variants are kind of the most important thing, and sliders.
It would be really cool to see. Ooh, there's Spencer Watkins. It'd be really cool to see something like this, but like that would measure control. That would be really cool. Also, Reed Detmer's hilarious. He had a no-hitter last year.
Yeah, I mean, I think the no-hitter really impacted his performance the rest of the way.
It was bad, right?
Yeah, it was. Detmers is a good pitcher. In fact, Detmers might be a kind of buy low guy from a betting perspective at the start of the year this year.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he was a top 100 prospect.
Yeah,
and I think the no-hitter really just took a lot out of his arm.
Mm-hmm. And also too, I think it can kind of be a weird thing to your psyche, right? Just, I'm not saying that's the reason why, but you get a no-hitter. Like that's the pinnacle for a lot of pitchers. And oh yeah, by the way, you got the A's next week, and you're like, got to go back out there and act like nothing happened.
Yeah.
Less no-hitters with the shift this year. I mean, that's probably going to be accurate. How many do we have last year? 5?
I think 5.
5?
Sounds about right.
That'd be a good little season-long bet.
Over under no-hitters.
4.5.
You have to be able to bet that somewhere.
Is this the last year at the Oakland Coliseum? I'm not sure. They would have to move out of Oakland, right? Are they building a new stadium? I don't think so. Did I tell you about the Oakland A's, and they had this idea that they were just going to give out like free tickets so it wasn't empty, and the ownership was like, no, we'd rather just have empty seats than give away free tickets. And I'm like, I guess that's a choice. So
I'm looking to see if we can bet on no
like in the
hitters.
season specials.
Yeah. I don't see anything though. If anybody has odds on like over under no hitters, that would be pretty cool.
Ryan Feltner. It's a Rocky.
Yeah.
Slider went up in velocity.
In the sinker.
Mm.
He's a reliever though, right?
Sort of. He's kind of like a swingman. They will start him, but I'm not sure what they're gonna do with him this year.
Oh yeah, I guess he did start like all but one game he played last year.
Yeah, but pick
I
six.
didn't think he was a reliever.
I honestly don't think like anyone in Oakland really wants to go watch the A's.
No.
That's the problem.
Yeah.
They would have to come up with some really good promotions.
Yeah, no, you have to like go pay people
Yeah, like
to go watch the A's or like,
hey, I got
here's
some
a-
free tickets. You're just like, oh, that's okay. I'm gonna go watch Dancing with the Stars.
Yeah, or like a ticket for a free ticket to get in, and like a free beer.
Yeah, they should do a free hot dog. But then I feel like
free hot
people
dog
would
and a free
start to,
beer.
I think people would be they just walk in, grab
Yeah.
the hot dog, and
And
See,
yeah,
guys.
no, yeah, that's actually a terrible idea. You just get like a bunch of homeless people, just like walking in, sleeping in the stands.
someone starts pissing at on second base, Nick.
I don't think that would happen. So
Yeah,
I'm just watering the grass.
Yeah,
Okay,
you know,
can't blame me.
got my hot dog here and my other hot dog.
Can't forget the upper decker lick my pecker from last year. That was in
that was
is that in Toronto?
yeah. How does someone get into that position where they're like, you know what? No one's gonna find out.
I don't know.
Yeah.
And like I'm not here to kink shame. But you don't do
it's
that.
in the public.
Yeah, you
kids
you,
around.
like when there's kids around, like nah.
That
Don't
happened
do
a
that
few
shit.
times too. Ooh.
Yeah, so
Sandy.
you want to look at strikeouts? So
Yeah, go to watch. I'm gonna pull up this article about Sandy Alcantara.
Yeah, so I know when we were talking about this a while ago, one of the the general handicaps that we were looking for was pitchers who are liable maybe to get moved into the bullpen and taking unders for them, because there's no innings requirement. There's just appearances. So was there anybody on this list that you thought had a decent shot of moving to the pen?
Not necessarily. I mean, I couldn't really find one. I mean, one of the guys, funny as it is, he's starting opening day would be Patrick Corbin, but I feel like at that point he's just going to be sent down. Like they're
not going to pay him $24 million to pitch in AAA.
No, they send guys down like that sometimes, and they bring them back up.
Well, I mean, yeah, maybe for like a week.
Yeah, like
he's not going to go pitch the full season in AAA, making more than like the AAA team itself makes in a year.
But hey, I mean, when we're talking about these season-long strikeouts, I mean, that could be the difference. I don't know, but that's a lot of speculation. But this article, Nick, said that it was basically ranking who's going to be affected most by the shift, and they did have Sandy Alcantara here, and I think it was basically because how often they shift. So, I mean, it's not so much talking about his stuff or anything like that, but kind of interesting. They were the 5th highest, I guess, and
Yeah, but so like, why is this article about Sandy and not any other Marlins pitcher or anybody on a team who ranked higher than 5th?
That's a good question. Let's keep reading.
Or is it just clickbait? Like, here's the
Could be
noteworthy pitcher.
could be clickbait. He had a lot of. Let's see here. He wasn't so much lucky as. Wait, he also wasn't so much lucky as really good at inducing contact on the ground.
Yeah, I mean, he had the most outs in shift positions. I think the article's addressing it because he just like pitched more innings than anybody.
Ooh, look at these two fellas.
Yeah, I think one of those fellas is in our is in the goat whale.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you go here, number 1,
Yeah,
but Barrios too. It's another guy, but
Mhm.
I don't want to touch him because he's so volatile, man. Like when he's on, he looks great, and then he gives up like 7 runs. What do you think about him this season? Just that, not even in prize picks, but just bullish
I
or
mean,
bearish on him.
what's his number at on Prize Picks?
I'm not even sure if it's on prize picks. I'm adding you back to the stream, by the way.
Okay, yeah,
I
I don't know.
even know if he's on there. But
Yeah, I mean, I think it's hard to look at raw numbers for like a ground ball outs because it's just like
yeah,
it's extremely correlated with just how many outs. I'm looking at it as like a percentage
outs.
of outs,
Yeah.
like ground ball rate, which is why I love Framber
Mm-hmm.
and his undercase.
Hold on, let me see if Barrios is actually.
No, I don't think he is.
No, he's not on here. They also only have a handful of Rocky players too. What?
Well, I mean, it's like hard. Like who on the Rockies is going to be playing a full season?
Ryan McMahon. That's about it. Chris Bryant, you can't put up there because you don't know. Also, Kikuchi, he's so funny because don't the Yankees own him or something? Like his numbers against the Yankees are like really bad, and people have
Potentially.
this. And people, I mean, I don't think a lot of pitchers have better numbers against the Yankees. But the narrative last year was like, "Oh, Kikuchi's playing the Yankees." Do you remember that? And then it was just a blind bet.
Yeah, let's look at his career splits against every different team.
So I spelled his name wrong a few times, and I got some really weird results. There you go. No, but yeah, Nick, he was on the list a few times. I think his velocity was up, but
Yeah, I mean those are actually good numbers against the Yankees. 4.07 ERA. That's like got to be right in line with
yeah, that's
his career. Oh, I guess he's a 5 career ERA pitcher, so even better against the Yankees.
so maybe he is better against the Yankees.
Yeah. Madison Bumgarner, we're taking under 4.92 ERA.
No.
I think the D-backs are going to be kind of sneaky good this year.
I do too, but I don't want to touch that prop.
That prop aside. But I think I'm gonna be looking to bet the Diamondbacks early in the year. If they have that outfield, Alec Thomas, Corbin Carroll,
Ooh, Corbin Carroll, man.
and Jake McCarthy.
Alec Thomas is one of those players that if you go watch in person, he's going to go 100% every time he's out there, which can sometimes be a bad thing, right? Like you want these guys to stay healthy. Like he's the type of guy, if he grounds out to second base or first base or short, third, he's running full speed.
Yeah.
But from a fan perspective, you're like, I love it. But from an organizational perspective, you're like, all right, maybe.
Well, and it's funny because Thomas is the slowest of the 3 outfielders on that team.
Mm-hmm.
And he's fast. He's fast as fuck, boy.
Isn't Corbin Carroll the fastest player?
Yeah, Corbin Carroll registered the fastest sprint speed in the MLB last year.
We just blindly take his over steals.
He's
got to get on base first, but
yeah. So I mean, like Carroll was the fastest player. McCarthy was the 11th fastest player, and Thomas was the 28th fastest player in the league last year, out of 582 qualified players. So I mean, nothing is dropping in on that outfield.
Also, Nick, give me a random catcher.
A random catcher.
Or chat could too, I guess. I wanted to show you something that I think was added on Baseball Savant from last year. It's kind of cool.
Who's a good random catcher? It's hard to come up with a random catcher.
Yeah. Oh, there you go. I'll do Travis.
Travis d'Arnaud. That's a good one.
Oh, yeah, he's got that apostrophe. Okay, so they added a pop rate to second base. So it basically shows you the percentile of how fast they throw to second for a steal. Pretty interesting.
Yeah, I mean that's I think a pretty key.
They've had that on other.
Yeah, it's a key scouting tool when you're scouting like amateur catchers. Like how are their defensive skills going to translate to the big leagues?
So he's 32nd percentile, and then framing. I'm kind of curious how they come up with this metric.
I can tell you how they come up with that metric.
Yeah, how do they do it?
It's I mean it might be more advanced than this, but roughly it's just like the percentage of balls that are outside of the strike zone that you get called strike zone. Like taken pitches outside of the zone that you get called strike zone.
Gotcha. Okay. Or also, Nick, maybe the catchers are just super personable too.
Maybe.
And they just get on the good side of every ump. As funny as that sounds, I'm actually not joking.
And Bruins fan, I actually completely disagree. Said I'm convinced that MLB analytics people are the smartest people in the world. They're extremely smart. But baseball is air quotes, it's easy. Everything is discrete. It's pitch, catch, run, hit.
Out. Yeah, less variables really.
It's much harder to do analytics work in a sport like football or hockey or basketball.
Because you got 11 people running around at the same time.
Yeah, I mean, and there's like less obvious stats that you can even take in a sport like that. Like in hockey, how do you measure the impact of away from the puck positioning, or like on NFL, how do you measure the impact of a route?
Yeah, maybe what he was getting at is the way analytics are used in baseball, right?
Yeah, I think baseball is definitely the most like popular.
Who has a good arm?
Accessible.
What's a catcher with a good arm?
Catcher with a good arm.
Because the last few I pulled up.
How about Adley Rutschman?
Oh, he's got to be up there. He's got a crazy pop. He's got to be.
also, I think pop time and arm are not the same thing.
Oh yeah, because
pop time is time from when the ball hits the mitt to when it's released from your hand.
It's part of it.
Nothing to do with how good the actual throw is.
Well, it's part of it.
No, it's not.
Well, not at all.
No, pop time is time from when the ball hits your mitt to the time when it's released from your hand.
Yeah, but it says pop time second base.
Yeah, throwing it to second base because the motion's different going to second than to third than to first. So it has to be a consistent motion for everybody. But the pop time is
that's only half of the story then.
Yeah, unless I'm wrong.
Nick, I could have the best pop time in the MLB if I practice enough.
And I could. Let's see. Let's look it up.
Yeah.
MLB.com, pop time. On steal or pickoff attempts by a catcher, pop time represents the time elapsed from the moment the pitch hits the catcher's mitt to the moment the intended fielder is projected to receive the throw. Okay, yeah, so it is.
Okay.
I was wrong.
But it also does take into you got to be quick to.
Okay, yeah.
Also, this is kind of funny. I thought Salvador Perez. There it is. I thought Salvador Perez was a way better defensive catcher, but he is actually pretty bad, Nick. Let me pull this up. I was looking at this yesterday. I think he's actually one of the worst defensive catchers in baseball. I mean, it's not easy when you're 255.
No, it's not.
So his pop time's pretty low, and then his framing's really bad too.
You know who's the GOAT framer? Like the OG GOAT framer?
I was gonna guess Pudge.
Jonathan Lucroy.
Didn't he play? Let's see if they have I mean, he played last season, right? Oh no, maybe he didn't. They might not have any numbers on him.
Yeah, maybe not on Baseball Savant.
Yeah.
And yeah, also who Toasty Sam's talking about Christian Bethencourt.
Oh yeah, I
That
remember him.
he was a he like randomly came back to play this past year. I think he was out of the league for felt like half a decade, but like as a prospect, Bethencourt was like instantly going to be the best defensive catcher ever.
Oral Roberts. Oh man, 100%.
That's pretty good.
Oh, it is really good. Everything else not so good, but
You know, this is a good defensive catcher is Austin Hedges. I think
pulling him up now. Yeah, you're like
at least at one point he was. I mean that was like his thing also as a prospect. It's like great catcher defense.
Tony Walters was pretty good, Nick. Remember him for the Rockies? Yeah, his framing's up there.
Yeah.
Austin
Hedges bats like 150 every year. He does.
Let me pull up a picture. Yeah, because the other metric was that they added on Baseball Savant was extension, which I thought was interesting. And basically that's the location when the ball leaves the hand. So if you have a lower extension, you're further away from home, and then higher, your hand is closer. But yeah, they didn't have this one last year. Yeah. I mean, I really don't know how much that really affects batters, but I'm sure it does to some extent, right? The closer the ball is, the less time you have to react. You program fuck yeah into his PitchCom. Who do we have winning the World Series? Man, I don't even know. I haven't thought that far, to be honest.
It's gonna be the Nationals.
I mean, I have teams that I like value, but every year I think the Mets have a shot, then some shit happens and they blow it. Sorry, CDL, but you know it's true. At least you're in a position to have some excitement into August, because us Colorado fans, when August 1st rolls around, it's like 100% football.
Yeah. Also, Ben, they have leaderboards, by the way, for like framing and stuff.
Yeah.
How do you just go look at all the?
How do you
hover over the leaderboards? Drop down at the top.
Oh, and then you go to.
All right.
Oh, look at this one.
You do catcher pop time.
We got catcher blocking. Yeah, let's take a look at this.
Let's see who's got the best pop time.
JT Realmuto. Oh, there's Bethencourt.
Yeah. Bethencourt was out of the league forever.
Wilson Contreras.
Yeah, Bethencourt played in. I mean, he played like 8 games in 2017, and then was out of the league for a bunch of years. No, Toasty Sam, that was a great call on Bethencourt. He played in the KBO for a year.
So I got catcher blocking. Oh, this is. Did they have so many crazy metrics, man?
It's awesome.
Yeah, that's wild. Blocks above average. It's like, oh, you're talking to NBA, eh? No, you're like, baseball, baby. Oh yeah, I do remember people talking about Rutschman, how good of a blocker he was, or he just gets in front of the ball. He's just so young and agile.
Insane.
And he can hit too. Oh yeah, Nick, his over multi-home home run games was 0.5. So tempting, right?
It's interesting.
You're just like, oh, he'll have one game where he has 2 home runs.
Yeah. No, I mean, there's a reason why he was the top prospect in baseball coming into last year.
Will Smith. He's been on a few of these at the top of the leaderboard.
I always hear the name Will Smith as a question. Like Will Smith.
Oh, Will Smith?
Nah.
And you're like, will he what?
Yeah. Will Smith.
Ooh.
Smith?
Check out pitch tempo. Select the 4 players in the table below to view a detailed comparison of their tempo. So wait, I got to read this because it says, before you compare this metric to the newly approved 2023 pitch timer, please note that this is not measuring the same timing as the MLB pitch timer. Because there could be just a different lag, I guess, how they're tracking it.
Well, yeah, I think it starts at different point in time. Brent Sutter.
Ooh, so something that I think my dad brought up is, or maybe it was someone else, that the younger pitchers may do better with the pitch clock than the guys who like been conditioned to not have the pitch clock and just do things on their own time, like Kershaw.
Mm-hmm.
That's one take.
It'll be interesting to see.
What do you make of the Royals this year in the rotation? We were talking about that in the Twitter Spaces.
Yeah. So what does that rotation look like this year?
We got Brady Singer. He's starting. I'll just pull up. I do by team here.
Yeah, I'm on MLB.com.
Okay.
Oh, that's just all of the pitchers. I guess ESPN has an actual depth chart.
Well, a lot of people don't even know what the actual rotations are, too.
Yeah. But yeah,
You
Brady
can kind
Singer,
of... Keller.
Zach Greinke, number 2.
Yeah, Greinke. Yep.
Jordan Lyles, Brad Keller, and Daniel Lynch. It's they have pitchers. They have arms.
They do.
They do have arms.
Yeah. Look, Lyles last year wasn't as bad as I think everyone thought he would be. So he's serviceable, but that bottom half of the rotation, it's just kind of like Daniel Lynch and Keller.
I mean, they have a lot of darts, but the Royals have never developed a good pitcher.
No.
I mean, like since Zach Greinke came up in the Royals system, like I think literally every single pitcher that they've developed has been not great.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm not exaggerating.
I think you're right. I'm just kind of curious your outlook on them.
It's sad because they have so many good, young arms, right? Like Singer, or like a Daniel Coar.
Mm-hmm.
Just guys with a lot of talent, who because of whatever the Royals are doing, they're just none of them become good.
Yeah, I was just curious your thoughts on the Royals. I mean, that AL Central is kind of a interesting division. I mean, I think the Guardians are going to do really well this year. That's one team I'm high on. I don't know how high I am on them, but I like their over. I was trying to find sprint speed. Where is that? Oh, there it is. Look at all this data, Nick, they have on sprint speed. That's insane.
Who's that guy who's like the literal slowest?
Here?
Yadier Molina.
I mean, that's not a surprise.
Not a surprise.
Pujols. Cabrera.
Yeah. I mean, I guess we could have thought this through for 10 seconds and
Yeah.
figured it out.
Kyle Lewis. That's interesting.
It's just all of the old players.
Kyle Lewis, I feel like he's just here because when he just grounds out, he just.
But isn't this is max recorded sprint speed?
This is max.
This is max sprint speed. I think, because I recognize the number for Carroll off the Fangraphs one that I'm like 99% sure was
Maybe up top.
max.
That's crazy. Then
I mean, there should be a explainer.
Well,
or is this average?
Case,
I'm just wrong about everything.
I feel like it's average. But down here, though, maybe this is. That's fucking fast, though. Trey Turner.
Yeah, I think it is average. And also, would this include something like groundouts? Because like that's not a sprint.
So let's see here. Runners of 2 bases or more, non-home runs, excluding being a runner on first and second, home to first or top their weekly hit balls. So this is what they're excluding.
No, that's what they're including.
So they are including weekly hit balls?
Yeah, because I think those you have a chance, right? Like if you blast a grounder right at the shortstop.
Oh, I guess you're right. Yeah. Okay. Interesting stuff.
They need Carl Lewis. I don't think Carl Lewis is running very fast anymore.
They need to put just random cheetah or Usain Bolt just to see where.
I think there's literally a stat called a bolt that it's in that explainer at the top.
Yeah, any run over 30 feet per second. How many bolts they had? Let's see who had the most bolts. Trey Turner. I mean, this is partly just the amount of balls in play too, but
yeah, it's a volume stat.
But hey, I love to see that. Trey Turner's
like a bolt percentage.
Trey Turner's a guy who, if you pay some money for, he's going to play hard and he's going to run hard to first base.
Yeah.
You could just take the percentage right here, right? Competitive runs.
Mm-hmm.
So it's almost half. Look at Bubba Thompson. He's trying hard, Nick. He's like, every time I get out there.
Yeah.
That's funny. And then you got Altuve, who's he's not bolting much unless he has to. Oh yeah, Nick. What are your thoughts on the Orioles?
It'll be interesting how their pitching does. I mean, I think that their bullpen is due for a lot of regression from where it was at last year. I think the rotation has a lot of potential. And I mean, with Rutschman and Gunnar Henderson, a lot of upside there.
But not super.
I mean, it's like impossible to do well for them in that division.
I think that's the problem. But do you think they can go over their win total, whatever that's
I don't know. That depends on what the number's at. I haven't looked.
That and the Red Sox seem to be two teams that a lot of people have pretty mixed opinions on.
Yeah. You said I'm going to give your dad PTSD here, if he's still here. You were talking about Bubba Thompson, and it reminded me of another former baseball player named Bubba. You remember Bubba Starling?
Sort of. I don't even know if he would be on here. Oh, no, he is. Bubba Starling. What's the PTSD, though?
So he was a top football recruit at quarterback and was committed to Nebraska. And I mean, it would have been like,
He would have been the guy.
yeah. I mean, he was like 5-star football recruit and was committed to play quarterback at Nebraska, but then signed with the Royals after being drafted in the first round
Interesting.
out of high school. So it was a big rip for Nebraska football there.
And he's not even in the MLB anymore, right?
No, he really flamed out as a prospect.
So wait, we got Kyle Gibson, Cole Irvin. Oh, wait. Dean Kramer. And then Bradley. I don't think Grayson Rodriguez made the rotation.
No, he didn't.
Yeah. He used to
starting the year
pitch
in AAA.
for the Red Sox? Came from the Red Sox, right?
No, Grayson Rodriguez is their top pitching prospect.
Oh, I'm thinking of
You're thinking of Eduardo.
is it Eduardo? Where is he at
Eduardo.
now?
It's a good question. I mean, he was in Detroit recently. He might still be in Detroit. He might have signed somewhere else this offseason and I missed it. But yeah, great. I mean, so Grayson Rodriguez was like the number 3 prospect in baseball coming into last season. And like he was pitching really well, got hurt.
Yeah.
As happens with pitching prospects.
Oh yeah.
Special offer.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
Yes.
What a deal. All right, I'm probably gonna hop off, Nick.
Yep, I think it's that time.
Appreciate you guys hanging out with us, and yeah, hopefully the goat whale hits, man. Definitely was harder to construct than some of the other sports, though. Just with the new rule implication of they have to play over 80 games. That made it a little more difficult to come up with, but
yeah. Oh, and also I see your dad in the chat real quick. Do you remember Bubba Starling as a Nebraska commit? I'm curious.
I feel like he would remember.
It wasn't like that long ago. I guess it might have been like 15 years ago at this point. It's a while.
Hey, Nick, how do you feel about Lamar Jackson?
I want to end stream IRL.
Yeah, you're like no comment. No comment. I wonder if Wee Hoopin said anything yet.
We'll see.
He would just be so extra about it.
No, I mean, so my thoughts on real thoughts on
this
Lamar
is ours. Yep.
Is, I mean, he just needs to get his shit together. Like he just needs to sign an agent. Like there's a reason why people have agents, right? It's so you don't have to do one, because they're lawyers, right? So they're good at contracts. But number 2 is so you don't have to talk directly with a team arguing about like the negatives of your performance and stuff, right? I mean, that's how you burn bridges.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of how Lamar has ended up where he's at. I mean, I like Lamar. I really don't like the way that he's handling the situation. And if he wants to be gone, let him go. That's kind of my thoughts. Best of luck somewhere else. I think paying him Deshaun Watson money is ridiculous. I think the entire NFL knows it's ridiculous, and he's not going to get that anywhere. No,
especially not at this point.
Yeah. So I mean, honestly, like I don't even know how the situation's going to unfold, because like who's going to trade for him? Because if you trade for him, you have to have a contract lined up with him, and everybody can already negotiate contracts with him, right? He's a free agent right now. Everybody can negotiate contracts with Lamar Jackson.
Well, it's either what's going to happen, Nick, is it's either a team out of nowhere pays up and pays him close to what you just mentioned, which is probably unlikely, or he's going to have to take a pay cut from what he's at least from what he was expecting.
Yeah.
And that's why he's kind of in this mess to begin with, right? Because the Ravens wouldn't pay him that money.
Yeah, well, and I really don't think that's a Ravens issue. I think that's a overvaluing yourself. And again, another reason why you should have an agent
that can
issue,
whisper.
a guy that
Yeah.
knows your value.
Yeah,
And,
and I think
can,
from looking at it, Nick, I think one of the reasons why they're not going to pay him that money is he's a mobile quarterback. He's more susceptible to getting injured.
and he's been injured.
Yeah. So you have those two things working against you. So I don't think, I mean, he probably could have got a contract like Russ, right?
Well,
Or
I mean,
close-
he
not-
deserves more than Russ.
Well,
It's just
but
that
Russ-
there's like that massive gulf between what Deshaun Watson got and what literally everybody else has ever got.
yeah, but let me put it this way. If I would have told you that like before you saw Russ play, you would maybe have a different response, right? Because Russ is underperforming based on his contract by far. I mean, that's not an argument. I think if he could get a contract very similar to Russ, he would take it.
No, I don't think so.
You don't think so?
No, he wants Deshaun Watson money.
Well,
and Deshaun Watson money is absurd.
Yeah.
Deshaun Watson being who he is aside, it could be literally anybody, and it's still absurd.
Mm-hmm. Well, I don't know.
But yeah, I mean, like I don't even know who's going to want to trade for him. And then if he's like stuck, is he going to Le'Veon Bell and just not sign the tag? I think that's honestly pretty high up on the list of
Possibilities.
Yeah.
I mean, at this point, it's like you already got yourself into this mess, and typically the teams or the players double down on it.
Yeah, and I mean the Ravens aren't going to trade him for a bag of chips, right?
Nope.
It's got to be
something good. I mean, they probably
good.
want another quarterback back, or at least a lot of pieces, and then you could, I guess, sign someone in the draft. Get Caleb Williams next year, Nick. Tank for Caleb.
But the Ravens won't be that bad because their defense is so good.
Yeah, and they also, I don't think, would do something like that.
No, and their run game is good too. Like they'll even if Tyler Huntley's starting at quarterback for them next year, they'll win more games than the worst team in the league.
I don't think Harbaugh wants this, but I also don't think Harbaugh wants to pay him what Deshaun has, right? I don't think it's too much. It's too much.
Yeah. I mean, give me fucking Anthony Richardson. Give me like a top 10 pick. Give me Anthony Richardson and let's go.
Bailey Zappi, Nick.
Yeah, Lamar Jackson for Bailey Zappi straight up. He says no.
Bailey Zappi and Lamar Jackson to the Patriots. That'd be something.
You know, the funniest thing that I've been hearing is Lamar Jackson to the Jets.
I've heard the lines a few times.
I've heard the Lions too, but I think the Jets would be hilarious, right? Like the Packers stalling on making a trade to get more picks out of the Jets, and the Jets can just be like, "Fuck you."
Yeah,
we have Lamar, and then the Packers are just stuck.
And then because Aaron Rodgers is never going to have another snap in Green Bay. Like that's done. I think Aaron Rodgers would rather do like the darkness retreat than ever play.
No, he's not playing for the Packers again. Yeah, so here's the ultimate chaos theory. Ready? We get Lamar to the Jets and Aaron Rodgers to the Ravens.
It's almost like a 3-way trade. Oh man, that would be funny. Aaron Rodgers, starting quarterback of the Baltimore Ravens. Lamar Jackson to the Packers. There you go.
Yeah,
everyone gets a quarterback.
Yeah. Jordan Love to the Jets.
That would be Nick. That would be the biggest three-way trade of all time, I think.
Yeah.
That would be funny.
Who knows? I mean, I'm morbidly curious. I'm very sad because I do like Lamar Jackson. I'm sad that it's come to this, but
also I think Harbaugh is just playing stupid. Like they're interviewing him, and he's like, "Oh yeah, I think he's staying." Like,
no. So I think Lamar. I don't know if this is on purpose or not, but Lamar Jackson posted that tweet like within a minute or two of Harbaugh starting that interview.
So he didn't even know.
Well, I mean, he didn't know that the tweet was out. I mean, he knew.
So he was giving coach
trade
speech,
request,
right? Like he's just saying, like, "Yeah, we want him around" and all this stuff. And
yes, but he didn't know that the trade request was public. during
So
that
he's
or had just found out like 1 minute ago.
so then he was basically lying, which coaches never do.
No,
right?
no, never. Coaches never lied.
NFL material. That's what we're saying, man. That's what we're saying.
I mean, he's worth money. He's not worth Deshaun money.
All right. Well, I'm sorry to end the stream with that, Nick, but
I just want to keep talking about how depressing my fandom is.
yeah. Well, sitting here with Russell Wilson as our quarterback. At least we got Sean Payton, though.
Yeah, no, I get to know what you experienced last year. It's not fun.
It's a glimmer of hope with Sean Payton, and hopefully he can figure out how to work with Russ at this point in his career.
Mhm.
So, what's up, Jack?
Yeah, good timing. We're about to end the stream,
Yeah.
but here's the MLB goat whale.
Yeah, lock it in. I don't think anything's been moved or bumped, so that's a good sign. Samaje Perine. Yeah. Hey, he's not bad, but it's just funny that was one of the moves we made. Alrighty. See you guys later.
Yeah.
I'll be on tomorrow at same time, 6 Eastern. What do we have on the docket tomorrow? Win totals. Nick, if you want to hop in for a little bit, you can.
I will not be on for win totals.
You won't even watch and support?
Oh, no, I'll have the stream on,
Oh, okay.
but I won't be like
Mets under?
You won't see my face.
Mets under.
Mets under. Yeah, it's a lock.
I'm just kidding. I actually kind of like the over. No. Rockies under, maybe? Spoiler? Diamondbacks over? Spoiler?
Tigers over. Sure.
Nick got the Vegas flu. How does my dad know that? I didn't even tell him.
Dad, I don't know.
Interesting.
I got a little sick. I didn't get like crazy sick.
I was feeling sick the last 2 days. I was just like fatigued. I felt like I had COVID.
Yeah, I was like super tired and had a not an awful cough, but like a cough. But I'm feeling pretty good now.
I think the funniest Vegas story was just our buddy Nate just randomly nuked Alabama for like no reason because some guy was like, "You should bet more on him," and then he comes back with a $500 ticket, and he usually only bets 100, and it hit. I thought that was the funniest story. Ooh, there's some win totals right there. Over. Ooh, under for Philly. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, no Reese Hoskins for the year.
Yeah, no risk. And then Harper's out
for a little bit.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I need to do a little bit of more research on that. But anyways, yeah, let's call it. Appreciate you guys hopping on, and yeah, we'll talk to you tomorrow, 6 p.m. Eastern time, and I'll run through some win totals. So appreciate you guys. See you later.
Later, everyone.